What if I told you one of the most successful traders on Darwinex today comes from a team that lives in a quiet town in Finland, trades almost exclusively around macroeconomic events, and is currently managing over $23 million in investor capital? This is the story of THA, the strategy run by Aatu and his team at Tails. And this is what a $23 million plus trader does differently. So who is THA? Let's start from the top. THA, also known as the Tails strategy, was built by Aatu, a former World of Warcraft gamer turned macro trader. Now, Tails has become a powerhouse strategy on Darwinex, with over an 800% return since inception and less than a 15% drawdown. Now, THA has earned its seat at the table of elite traders, and in May of 2025, it currently stands with an AUM of $23 million. Yes, million. Now, Aatu and his team have won multiple awards for their trading, including the Hedge Fund Journal CTA and Discretionary Trader Awards for 3 years running in 2022, 2023, and 2024. But what makes this all the more fascinating is how they trade. Now let's talk a little bit about the philosophy behind THA. So most traders avoid economic events like FOMC, CPI, NFP because of the increased volatility, the spreads, the uncertainty of what's going to happen afterwards. But Tails, they actually run towards the chaos. They built what they describe as a soul after event macro trading strategy, which is a bit of a rare breed in both the retail and professional trading world. Using a proprietary database of over 3,000 historical macro events, the team constructs probabilistic scenarios after events occur. Then based on those scenarios, they execute with a rules-based conviction system and scale risk accordingly. So it's not just your typical break and retest price action system. This is a high conviction, data-driven macro trading edge, and they do it with institutional precision and execution. And it works. Now let's talk stats. Since inception, THA has had a return of 819.64% at current date, with a max drawdown of -14.47%. That gives them a return to risk ratio of 18.61. With a track record of over 10 years, currently having 874 investors with an AUM of $23.6 million US. And what's interesting is the win rate for THA is about 30.7%, but the average winning trade is more than 3 times larger than the average loser. And the math therefore checks out. They have a profit factor of 1.49, Sharpe ratio of 2, Sortino ratio of 2.65, and a payoff ratio of 3.37. So it is true asymmetric trading. They have big wins and they keep their losses small. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into how they trade. Tails focuses almost exclusively on G10 FX pairs, with 97% of their trades in Forex pairs, with the remaining small exposure in indices and commodities. Now the average trade frequency for THA is 6.5 trades per day. Now arguably that's fairly active for a discretionary approach, with many trades lasting several hours. The average losing trade for THA is 43 minutes, whereas their average winning trade is almost 8 hours, which is like a 10x difference in holding time, again showing that they let their winners run, but they will cut their losers fast. Now something that is really interesting to me is their return distribution by weekday. And remember, all of these statistics are since inception in 2015. So on Mondays, they've lost 8.37%. On Tuesdays, they've made 18.74%. Wednesdays, 81.75%. Thursdays, they've made a whopping 225.81%. And Fridays, back to a modest 42.76%. And yes, the majority of THA's performance comes on Thursdays, which is likely because most macro events stack towards midweek, thinking ECB, FOMC, CPI, and Tails is just there waiting to execute. And all of this is happening from Jyväskylä in Finland, a small town surrounded by lakes and forests. Now, Aatu intentionally chose this location to create a distraction-free, deep work environment for the team, where there's just no noise and they can focus. They live and breathe macro trading, running through scenarios, backtesting historical outcomes, and adjusting risk based on real probabilities. So the culture at THA is built on discipline, data, and just intellectual curiosity. And it's why Tails is the most successful strategy that we've seen at Darwinex, period. Now let's connect this back to Darwinex. Tails is the perfect case study for who Darwinex was built for, and it's to allow traders to turn into professional asset managers. There's no social hype here or overnight riches. For THA, it was just 10 years of consistent trading, wrapped in a transparent, verified performance on their track record. And it's what a Darwin is meant to be, a real track record, risk adjusted, and therefore investor ready. Now, at the time of recording, THA is only using 8% of its available capacity, meaning it could theoretically scale to $250 million before they start to experience any edge decay. Now let that sink in. $250 million AUM. Tails didn't start with $23 million in assets under management. Aatu began as a solo trader in his 20s, moved from gaming into markets and climbed the ranks slowly. Today, Tails is redefining what event-based macro trading looks like, showing that you don't need to trade every candle or chase every breakout or even run with a 60 or 70% win rate. You just need an edge, you need discipline, and you need your data. And if you get that part right, the capital will follow over time. So what can we learn from a $23 million backed trader? That it pays to think long term, to specialize in what others would avoid, and to trade like a strategist, not just a speculator. If you're looking to start your journey towards asset management, Darwinex is where it begins. And if you want to trade without risking real money, then Darwinex Zero is your first step on that ladder. Because one day, it could be your strategy we're talking about in a video just like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into some of the most elite strategies and traders in the game today.